For almost 1,000 years, the name Earth had become a story told to children. Most aliens thought humans were gone forever, a violent race that could not live in peace. The Galactic Council had banned them after the Great War of Worlds. To them, humans were too wild, too emotional, too brave, and too dangerous. So the Council declared, "Let Earth be silent." And for centuries, humanity obeyed. But silence does not mean weakness. Captain Elias Grant sat in the control room of the Helios Ark, one of the largest ships in the hidden human fleet. He was tall, calm, and carried the quiet strength of a man who had seen too much history. Through the glass window, stars floated like tiny candles in the black sky. The universe seemed peaceful, but he knew better. Peace never lasted long. Lieutenant Mara Quinn walked toward him holding a small silver device. "Captain," she said softly, "a transmission just arrived from the Galactic Council. They want to talk to us." Elias turned slowly, his gray eyes tired. "The Council? After 900 years? What could they want now?" "They say they're in trouble," Mara replied. "An enemy called the Vrax Dominion is attacking them. Entire star systems are falling. Their fleets can't stop them." Elias said nothing. He looked out into the stars again. When he finally spoke, his voice was low. "So they remember us only when they are afraid?" Mara nodded. "They're asking for help. They say they'll forgive everything if we return to the Council." A faint smile touched Elias's lips, not of joy, but of something sharper. "Forgive us?" he said quietly. "They exiled us, destroyed our homeworld, and erased our name from the stars. And now they speak of forgiveness." The ship's AI, a calm voice named Astra, interrupted. "Captain, shall I open the live communication from the Council Hall?" Elias sighed. "Yes, let's see what they have to say." A bright hologram filled the air, showing tall, elegant aliens with silver skin and long robes. At the center stood High Consul Varel, the same species who once declared humans unfit for peace. His voice trembled slightly as he spoke. "People of Earth, if you still live, we, the Galactic Council, request your aid. The Vrax Dominion has unleashed destruction across the spiral arms. They have no mercy, no law. We cannot stop them. You humans once fought them and survived. Please, we ask for your help." The room fell silent. The only sound was the steady hum of the ship's reactor. Elias looked around at his crew, descendants of those who had fled Earth long ago. Some were scientists, others soldiers. All of them were the children of exile. Mara whispered, "Sir." "What will we say?" Elias stepped closer to the hologram. His expression was calm, but his voice carried the weight of 1,000 years. "To the Galactic Council," he began. "You called us violent. You called us dangerous. You said peace could never exist with our kind, so we left. We tried peace when for centuries we truly did. We built quietly in the dark. We grew our children in silence. We learned patience. But you forgot that silence can be a choice." He paused, letting the words hang in the air. "Now your enemies have come. You asked for help from the race you feared. You asked the monsters of your stories to save you. Remember this: humanity does not fight for forgiveness. We fight for survival. We fight for those who remember us. You wanted peace. We tried peace. Now you will meet the other side of humanity." Astra's voice confirmed softly. "Message recorded, Captain." "Send it," Elias said. Mara blinked in surprise. "Are you sure, sir?" "Yes. The time for silence is over." The transmission flew across deep space, through abandoned channels, through sleeping satellites, through the broken remains of human stations hidden behind moons and asteroids. In minutes, the entire galaxy received the message. And for the first time in centuries, the voice of Earth echoed once more. In the council hall, thousands of aliens sat in stunned silence. The human's voice was calm, but there was something in it, something that made their hearts tremble. It was not anger. It was certainty. High Consul Varel turned pale. What have we done?" he whispered. Back aboard the Helios Ark, lights began to flicker all across the command deck. Astra announced, "Captain, long sleeping systems across human colonies are activating. Hidden fleets awakening, signal codes verified. Estimated number of operational ships in over 50,000. Mara stared at the readings. 50,000? We still had this power? Elias nodded slowly. Peace made us quiet. Not weak. He turned toward the viewing window. Far in the distance, Massive metal structures began to rise from dark planets, war docks, repair stations, and long-sleeping battle fleets. Each bore a symbol forgotten by the galaxy, a blue sphere with a white crescent, the mark of Earth. "Prepare the fleet," Elias ordered. "It's time to remind the galaxy who we are." On distant worlds, the message kept playing on repeat. Aliens gathered around screens listening to the human voice again and again. Some felt fear, some felt hope, and some felt both. Across the galaxy, old stories began to awaken. Stories about the Death Worlders, the beings who had walked through fire and called it training, who smiled at storms and tamed planets others thought were cursed. For centuries, the galaxy had laughed at those tales. Now they didn't laugh anymore. Inside the Helios Ark, Mara whispered to herself as the ship engines came alive. "Do you think they will ever trust us again, Captain?" Elias looked at her and said quietly, "They don't have to. They just need to survive the storm that's coming." Outside, the stars began to move. Thousands of ships lifted off from hidden worlds, their engines glowing like blue suns. Old human war songs, long forgotten, played softly across their communication lines. It was not a song of anger. It was a song of return. As the Helios Ark led the formation, Elias whispered one final line. Words meant only for himself, but carried far by the silent stars. "We were human. We are human. And now the galaxy will remember what that means." The first fleet of Earth broke through the black of space, heading toward the burning sectors of the galaxy. And somewhere, deep in every alien heart, a small voice whispered in fear, "They tried peace. Now comes the other side." But now, one by one, they were waking up. From the dark side of forgotten moons, from deep under the ice of old mining worlds, from silent stations hidden in asteroid belts, huge metal ships began to rise. Their engines glowed with cold blue light, and their hulls carried the same mark, a small blue planet with a white crescent, Earth's symbol. Inside the command deck of the Helios Ark, Captain Elias Grant stood before the main screen. His officers worked quietly, their faces showing a mix of fear and pride. Lieutenant Mara Quinn watched the incoming data. "Captain, we are receiving signals from every hidden human colony. Fleets are reporting readiness. Old defense networks are online again." Astra, the ship's AI, added softly, 73 fleets have confirmed activation. Estimated total ships 200,000. Elias's expression did not change. "Good," he said. "Now let's remind the galaxy what silence really meant." Mara looked at him. "Sir, are we really going to help the Council? After everything they did to us?" Elias turned to her. His tone was calm, but his eyes were hard. "We are not helping them, Lieutenant. We are protecting what's left of the galaxy. If the Vrax destroy everything, there will be no one left to remember who we are." Far away in the Council Hall, panic spread. Reports came every minute, more planets falling to the Vrax dominion. Worlds that had once mocked human strength were now burning under Vrax attack ships. The Council had no control, no plan, and no courage. Then a message arrived. "Unknown fleet detected," said the officer on duty, massive in size, approaching from uncharted space. High Consul Verrill stared at the screen. "Is it the Vrax?" "No, sir," said the officer. "Signal identified. Human." A quiet gasp filled the chamber. The room that had once laughed at human rage now fell completely silent. Back aboard the Helios Ark, the fleet formed in perfect order. Lines of battleships, cruisers, carriers, and smaller strike craft filled the space like an ocean of steel. No one in the crew had seen such power in their lifetime. Mara whispered, "It's beautiful and terrifying." Elias nodded slowly. "It's humanity's other face." Astra's voice echoed. "All ships report green status." "Awaiting your command, Captain." Elias looked toward the viewing glass. "Then let's move." As the fleet entered hyperspace, the stars stretched into long silver lines. Within moments, the human armada reached the edge of Council space, where the Vrax were already attacking. Explosions filled the distance, and broken Council ships drifted helplessly. Alien distress calls filled the communication channels, crying for help from any ship that could hear. Mara listened quietly. "They sound desperate, sir." Elias nodded. "They're about to see what real desperation looks like." On the nearest battlefield, Vrax ships were large, insect-like, covered in black armor that reflected no light. They had destroyed 3 Council fleets already, But now they faced something they had never seen. Human warships appeared from hyperspace, dark shapes against the stars. Without a word, they formed lines and prepared for attack. Elias gave his first command. Open the channel. All human fleets begin. In the next second, the sky exploded with light. Human plasma cannons, railguns, and beam arrays fired together. Their energy so strong it painted the darkness blue and white. The Vrax ships turned to fight, but they were not ready for the old human tactics. Fast strikes, unpredictable maneuvers, and total coordination. Within minutes, the first wave of Vrax ships was destroyed. Mara watched in awe. They didn't even have time to react. Elias's voice was calm. That's the difference between warriors born for peace and those born from fire. Across the galaxy, the Council watched the battle on their screens. The alien leaders who once called humans savages now saw them as saviors. High Consul Veril stood speechless. One of his advisors whispered, "They are winning." "No one else could have done this," Veril whispered back. "They told us they tried peace, and now we are seeing the other side." But victory did not come easily. New waves of Vrax ships arrived, larger, faster, more deadly. They fired energy weapons that cut through space like fire through paper. Several human cruisers were hit, but they did not fall. Instead, the damaged ships rammed straight into the enemy, exploding to protect the rest of the fleet. Mara's eyes filled with tears. They're sacrificing themselves. Elias's face stayed firm. Every one of them knows what this means. They fight for the name Earth. The battle grew larger. Thousands of ships on each side, bright trails crossing like fireflies in the night. For every human ship lost, 10 Vrax ships burned. But humanity had something the Vrax could never understand. Unity. Every soldier, every pilot, every commander moved with the same purpose, the same silent promise. Never again will we be forgotten. Hours passed. When the smoke cleared, the first sector was saved. Hundreds of Vrax ships drifted in ruins. The surviving Council ships, weak and damaged, sent their thanks, but the humans did not answer. Instead, Elias sent one short message across the network. Simple and calm. Sector secure. Move civilians to safe zones. Humanity will hold the line. The Council broadcast the message everywhere. To every world, every species, every frightened being, those words became a symbol. The galaxy realized that the forgotten humans, the exiles, the so-called monsters, had returned as protectors. Inside the Helios Ark, Mara looked at the captain. "Sir, messages are coming from all sides. They're calling you the guardian of the spiral." Elias shook his head. "No, we are not guardians. We are reminders. The galaxy forgot what courage looks like. We'll remind them," Astra added. New distress call from Sector 9. The Vrax are regrouping. Elias turned toward the stars. "Plot a course. Humanity's work isn't done." The engines roared softly as the fleet prepared for another jump. Mara looked once more at the fading battlefield. 1,000 pieces of broken ships glowing in the distance. Among the debris, she noticed something shining. A floating metal plate from an ancient human ship. Its letters still clear. Earth Federation. We end what others can't. She whispered the words to herself, feeling a chill down her spine. The Helios Ark vanished into hyperspace again, leading the human armada toward the next battle. Behind them, the saved worlds began to light up again, their people cheering in disbelief. For the first time in centuries, they felt hope. And far away in the council hall, High Consul Veril looked at the message replay, Elias's voice echoing in the chamber once more. "We tried peace. Now you'll meet the other side of humanity." He lowered his head and whispered, "May the stars forgive us for ever doubting them." The human fleet was no longer a rumor. It was real. It was unstoppable. And it was changing the galaxy. After saving 4 sectors, Captain Elias Grant and the crew of the Helios Ark had become symbols of hope. Everywhere they went, the stars seemed to shine brighter. But Elias knew something the others didn't. The war was far from over. The Vrax Dominion was falling back, but their true leader had not yet appeared. Rumors spoke of a massive command ship hidden deep inside a dying red nebula, the Vrax Prime Hive, the center of their power. If humanity didn't destroy it, the galaxy would never be safe. Inside the quiet bridge, Lieutenant Mara Quinn looked at the data screen. "Captain, scouts report they found it, the hive. It's bigger than anything we've seen. They say it's surrounded by a shield made from living energy. Elias nodded slowly. Then that's where it ends. He walked to the center console. Around him, the bridge crew watched in silence. For months, they had fought non-stop battles. They were tired, but proud. Astra, the ship's AI, spoke gently. "Captain, we have lost 1/3 of our fleet. Would you like to wait for reinforcements?" Elias shook his head. "If we wait, the hive will rebuild. This ends today, not tomorrow." Mara stepped forward. "Then we go with you, sir." He looked at her with a faint smile. "I never doubted that." Hours later, the human fleet dropped out of hyperspace near the Red Nebula. The view was breathtaking. Red clouds twisting like fire, lightning running through the dust. In the center, the Vrax hive glowed like a black heart. Its size was beyond imagination, stretching miles wide, surrounded by layers of living armor. Astra's sensors scanned it. Shield strength. Enormous energy source. Organic and mechanical combined. "Captain, there's something else." A signal hidden beneath their code. "It's human in origin." Mara's eyes widened. "Human? That can't be." Elias frowned. "Play it." A faint, broken voice came through the static. "This is Commander Rhea Solis. Expedition 47 captured. Used to power their weapon. Please." Then the signal died. For a moment, no one spoke. Elias whispered, "They captured our people centuries ago and turned them into part of this machine." Mara clenched her fists. "Then we'll free them." The human fleet spread into formation. Rows of ships aligned with quiet precision. Elias gave his command. "All units prepare for assault. Target the hive's shield generators. No mercy for the machine, but compassion for those trapped inside." The engines roared. Thousands of ships moved as one, glowing like blue fire in the red mist. The Vrax defenses awoke instantly. Millions of small drone ships poured out of the hive like a black storm, firing beams of green light. The sky turned into chaos, energy blasts, shockwaves, and endless fire. But the humans did not stop. Inside the Helios Ark, Mara shouted over the alarms. "Shields at 70%. Elias replied calmly, "Hold formation. Push through." A massive explosion rocked the ship. Half the bridge lights went dark. But the crew held their ground. They had come too far to turn back now. "Fire the Nova Lance," Elias ordered. The front of the ship glowed with a white beam, gathering energy. When it fired, the light was so bright it cut through the nebula like a sunrise. The blast tore a hole straight through the hive's outer layer. Mara smiled through tears. "We broke through." But then Astra's tone changed. "Warning, the hive is awakening." The entire nebula began to tremble. From the center, a massive shape emerged, taller than mountains, wide as a moon. It was the Vrax Prime Core, the true form of their leader. Its eyes glowed like suns, and its voice came through every ship's comm channel. "Humans, we remember you. You burn everything you touch." "You are chaos," Elias answered calmly. "And yet we are the only ones who ever stopped you." The core laughed, a cold, echoing sound that shook the ships. "You will fall again. Peace made you soft." Elias looked out the window. "You're wrong. Peace made us patient." The battle that followed would be remembered for 1,000 more years. The Helios Ark led the charge. Human ships dove through storms of plasma and debris, sacrificing themselves to protect others. Every time a ship fell, another took its place. The Vrax core unleashed energy waves that could destroy planets. But the humans countered with an ancient weapon, a pulse they called the Earthlight, built from technology long kept secret. When activated, the pulse turned human ships into one connected field of energy, sharing strength and shields as if they were a single being. The sky became a sea of light. Mara shouted, "Captain, the pulse is overloading. We can't hold it." Elias's voice stayed steady. "We don't need to hold it. We just need to finish this." He opened a direct channel to the Vrax core. "You call us chaos," he said, "but you don't understand what we really are." He paused, his voice calm and firm. "We are life that refuses to surrender. We are hope that survives in fire. You destroyed our home once, and we built 10 more. You feared our strength, but it was never our weapons. It was our hearts. This is the other side of humanity." Then he gave the final command. "All ships, full power." "For Earth!" The combined pulse of hundreds of ships released at once. The light was blinding. The Vrax core screamed as the wave of energy tore through its shield, its armor, and finally its heart. The red nebula lit up like a sunrise across the galaxy. When the light faded, only silence remained. Hours later, the council received a transmission. A human face appeared on their screens. Elias Grant. Behind him, stars glittered softly. The Vrax Dominion is gone. The hive is destroyed. We have freed the prisoners within. But this victory is not about power. It's about remembering that peace is not weakness, and silence is not fear. He leaned closer. We tried peace. We truly did, but the galaxy must now decide what peace means. We will not rule you. We will not destroy you, but we will never bow again. The message ended, and with that, the human fleet disappeared into deep space once more. Quiet, unseen, but never forgotten. Months later, the Council rebuilt. A new star monument was built in the center of the galaxy. At its base, carved in 100 languages, were simple words. They tried peace, and when war came, they saved us all. Somewhere far away on a small blue planet restored by human hands, Captain Elias watched the sunrise. Mara stood beside him. She said softly, "Do you think they'll ever understand us?" Elias smiled. "Maybe not, but they'll never forget." The light of dawn touched their faces, warm and calm, not the light of war, but of peace earned by courage. And across the endless stars, one truth whispered in every corner of the galaxy: humanity never disappears. Humanity waits, and when the time comes, humanity rises.